Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We're a few minutes late. We're just working on our technology, but we're all set to go. Should be able to hear, all right? Okay. So I want to welcome the people who are here in the library on a Saturday afternoon. We also have how many viewers online, Helen? 23 people who are joining us by Zoom. This is a maiden voyage for us with Zoom, so patience and understanding would be appreciated by all of us as we go through this, because it has a few little tricks with it, but we've got some great equipment. For those in the room, we are only using the camera over here on my left, so that you will not be in any pictures. All right. So if you're shy and you're not sure about, maybe you're on a wanted poster in some place, and you're not going to be seen. The camera is only on the speaker today, so no worries. We'll ask that you please hold your questions in the room until the end of the presentation. Leave Rob go through his material, and we'll make sure we leave some time for questions. If you are on the Zoom link, and there are more of you on Zoom than there are in the room, we have disabled your cameras and your microphones right now. So you can make all the noise you want. We won't hear you, and we will not see you. But for questions, you can add them in the chat box in the side if you're used to that. And if not, we can open the mics at the end if we are not used to doing the chat box. And we'll make time for questions from the distant participants as well. And so now we're off to our speaker today. We have an interesting story on Rob, in a sense that Terry Saunders, who is a longtime executive member here at the group, saw an article in North Renfrew Times back in 2021. And she tucked that article in a file, and we were challenging ourselves in terms of who we can be getting an interesting speaker to join us and share with some information with you. And Terry remembered this name, pulled the file, and we established contact with Rob. And Rob is here today, and he's going to tell us his story that takes us from Deep River to Bolivia and probably back again. So I'll introduce Rob. We'll say a lot more about what he does and who he is. But Rob, welcome to a Genealogical Group. You have to step over that wire now?
Yeah, I'll watch wire. Yeah.
Perfect. Okay. And I'll put your slides back up here. And
your
mouse is there.
That's good. Great. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm glad there's people that came and showed up, and there's some on Zoom too. So I hope some of the ones from Bolivia can join to the Zoom also. You'll probably need a translator to Spanish, but that's okay. So I'm going to go through my story. I'm also going to tell a little bit about Ancestry.com in case others want to use it, or even if you don't have a relative you're looking for, you can find out a lot about yourself, traits and things like that, as well as things that come from your DNA. So some of the topics I'm going to go through is just kind of getting to know me, who I am, my background, the early years when I was young, and I first found out about Bolivia and my descendants and that. And then at the timeline when many years later, when things started to move quickly again, and I was kind of getting in touch with my new family. As I mentioned, Ancestry.com and the DNA searching. When I actually matched with somebody on Ancestry, and the things I learned about my mom's story and my father's story as time went on, and kind of how they lived in Bolivia before I was even born. I've got some other things there. I talk a bit about the NRT article. It was in the North Renfrew Times, and I think it was one of the stories of the year in there at the end of the year in December. So it was good. And then travel to Bolivia. We did go to Bolivia in 2025. It was a long flight. I'll go into a bit of that and what we saw, the culture and things we visited around there. And then my mother and father's life in Val Grande. So I'm still learning more things, but I keep learning them all the time and different things. So it's really refreshing to see how they lived there. And it was all really kind of a love story when you look at it. In the olden days, love story, not with Facebook and messaging or Tinder or anything like that. And then the land that's there. And then if there's any questions about Ancestry.com or anything like that, then you can ask them at the end. So I'm originally from North Bay. That's where I was. So I was born in Bolivia, as you know, but then I was in North Bay for most of my life until I started working. Then we moved to Deep River. So I moved to Deep River in 87. I had, so my mom and dad and my sister I had in Canada. So that's me on the left there when I had a lot more hair and a mullet, and my wife, Tammy, who became my wife. And there's my stepdad, Jack, and my mom, who was the one who was in Bolivia in the blue dress, and my sister, Kelly. She was my only sister in Canada, and her husband, Mike Lamarche, he was the best man at my wedding. So we were good friends. So we moved in 87 to Deep River. We have two children, Brandon and Trina. Brandon works he was working at the plant at ACL, but now works at a reactor near Dubai in Ruwais in the Persian Gulf. So we've been watching things there with all the news that's coming up with the war and that, and making sure he's safe there, and messaging him a lot. And Trina works at Dexterra in Petawawa, and she lives in Chalk River. I worked at CNL and ACL for 35 years, and Tammy worked at the credit union in Deep River for 35 years. So we both worked for a long time. She's retired now. I'm still doing some contract work, but I hope to retire soon too. So the early years, what happened, I guess I was 16 years old and I had to get my driver's license. So I went to get my driver's license. And I said, Mom, I need my birth certificate to get my driver's license. When I did that, she said, here's your birth certificate. And I looked at it, and it was all in Spanish, and it looked like a scroll from the Bible days or something. It was a big thing, not what I was expecting to get. And I'm like, Mom, what's this? So she kind of explained a bit to me. And the other thing, she spoke fluent Spanish all her life. Into her 90s, she spoke it. Anyway, she cried when I mentioned it to her because she didn't want anything about that. She wouldn't tell me my father's name or anything. And I didn't want to push her because she was very upset about it. So I left it at that, and I didn't question it or discuss it for years and years. And after that, that picture on the right is the actual kind of note that came for her to bring me into Canada from Cochabamba, or from Bolivia. So in the corner, it's just a note saying she's bringing her son or her baby over back into Canada when she comes. But in the left corner is a picture of my mom and myself when she was going so you could tell she's not very happy at that time. She was kind of sad to be leaving. So jump ahead to 2019 and 2020 is when things started coming together. My mom told me, because she was getting older, I pressed her again and asked her and said, do you have my father's name? Can I find out? And so she said his name was Feliciano Chano Penny. Chano was kind of a nickname that he had. And my stepfather and stepmother and my only sister, Kelly, so Jack in Canada, my mom, Joyce, the one who went to Bolivia, they all passed away within 2019 and 2020, early 2020, just within maybe 8 months. So it was very traumatic, and I really lost a lot of my Canadian family then. So my sister was gone, and my parents within the same 8 months. So then I started looking for my father, and I said, I'm going to look a little more. So I searched for on Google. I used Facebook. I did Facebook groups to find your relatives, a lot of things like that. And I went through my mom's items that she had. Those are a few on the right side there. Like, she had Bolivian money in her thing. She had pictures of her in Bolivia. She's in the middle of the picture on the bottom. And she had a lot of things. There's way more pictures, but I just thought I'd show a few in the interest of time. And then the last resort, I said, I'll try Ancestry.com just to see how much Bolivian I have in my DNA, and how much maybe I'll match with somebody or something, just to try it. So just a bit about Ancestry DNA in case anybody wants to use it. The cost is usually around $100. It's during Christmas, they have deals. It takes about 4 weeks for your results. So you do a swab and you send it to them, and they'll send you back the results. I'd really recommend it. And it's not just if you're looking for family. It's things like if you want to know what traits you have, what maybe even health issues you might have, they come through on that. So I'll just talk a bit about on the side there. So if you look on the right side, Bolivia, it found I was 24% Bolivia and Peru. It also puts about the area that you're born in. It'll tell you kind of, here's what Bolivia is like. Here's what the people are like. A lot of them lived in the Andes Mountains. And then on the left side, it has even more stuff. There's a lot more than this, but it'll say determination, where you should be based on the DNA in that, your heart recovery rate, morning or night person. Mine says morning, but I'm not really a morning person. So I don't know if it's until I have a coffee. So maybe it's morning person if you have a coffee first, but it says I'm a morning person. So also you can do the trees. So there's part of my tree on the bottom. That's my mom's side, Pauline, Joyce, Randall. And the top, I didn't have a lot at the time for my father, but those are the half siblings. And 5 of those are from Bolivia, and the others are or Kelly is my half sister from Canada, who I spent most of my time with and lived with when we were young. So it can also display hints of potential ancestors. So it might say, this person might be related to you, and you can investigate it. So even if you're not, even if you know who your family is, it might say this person's also related to you. So you can find out a lot of things, even pictures people upload like that. When I was going in, this John Hillis is on my mom's side, and he lived from 1832 to 1918, and he's my second great grandfather. And they actually had a picture of his tombstone on ancestry.com. So it's pretty neat, all the things that you can get there. So here's back to my story. I submitted my DNA in 2020. My nephew from Bolivia had got a present from his girlfriend at the time at Christmas, a DNA kit, and he happened to submit it, and that was in 2018. But then he submitted it. He was younger and didn't even look at it for quite a while. So I knew when I went in, I had matched with Jose Pene Cabrera, and as a close family. So, and it also showed that I was 24% Bolivia and Peru on the side. So I knew I matched with somebody, but I looked at his picture and he seemed too young. So I was like, I can't be related to him. He can't be my brother. He's definitely not my father. And so I decided to send a message anyway. So I said, in the third bullet there, I said, did you know my father, Feliciano Penny? And I put that out on Ancestry in the messaging. So then he didn't look at it until September of 2020. And it's a funny story because he accidentally clicked on it. But if you look on the right side, mine came up right away, close family with his name. And he was top of the list on my close family. And didn't know who he was. So the way it turned out, one night we were emptying the last storage unit that my parents had in Deep River. We had put all their stuff in there, and we were emptying the last stuff out of it, and we were going to give the storage unit back, and that would be the end of it. But just when we had done that, we were sitting back home, and it was kind of a sad moment. Then I got a message from him, came back on Ancestry, said, you're my uncle. And then after that, LinkedIn, Facebook, all kinds of messages came from people in Bolivia, and we arranged a Zoom meeting. But if you look on the right side, there was some things that that this is the original messages between us. And he said, that's my grandfather. Because I said, do you know Feliciano? And he said, that's my grandfather. And then he said, my dad has always told me, so his dad is my brother, has always told me that ever since I was a kid, he spoke about you. We came to America 20 years ago. So he's from Bolivia, but in the US military. And he said, I still live in New York, but he goes back to Bolivia. My grandfather, Chano, passed away in 3 years ago while he was stationed in Kuwait. So even on his deathbed, he spoke about his son in Canada. So my father died in 2017. So I never really got to meet him because of that, because this happened later in 2020. And then those are the messages, as I mentioned, on the side. So as we started seeing things and things were coming in, I was learning more. I learned more about my mom's story. So I was born in Cochabamba in the hospital. And my mom, before she passed away, said that she took me there from Val Grande, where she was, because it was a better hospital. And so I was born there. My mom was in Bolivia from 1955 to 64. And she was teaching religion there in Val Grande. And that's where she met my father, Feliciano Chano Penny. They had a baby, which was me. And then she moved back to Canada right away. She didn't say anything to my father. She just disappeared and moved back. And the reason she did that is because the religion that she was teaching, you should not have relations out of wedlock. So when she had a baby and she wasn't married, her parents in Canada said, we're not going to pay for you to be in Bolivia anymore and do this. Come back. We're cutting off all of money. So she just left and she got back to North Bay. And so then she married my stepfather, Jack Riopelle, and changed her name and my name to Rob Riopelle. So they were looking, because my father's name was Penne, they were looking for me, but they were looking for Penne as a last name, not Riopelle. So I was even harder to find that way. This picture here on the right side is a picture of my mom and me that my aunt in Bolivia sent me when I found out all about this, to prove that it wasn't, because there's so many scams on the internet and everything, to prove that this was real. So she sent that picture, and I know that's me and my mom because I have seen that picture that my mom had before, the same picture. So I knew, it was true. It wasn't a scam or anything like that at that point. So that really validated everything for me. So my father's story, these are things I'm learning about him and his life there. So he married Teresa Nancy Penne Castro, and that's my father on the left with her on the right, their wedding day, after my mom had left. And then he was a successful cattle rancher. And the Penne name is they're very well known in Val Grande. It's a town about the size of Pembroke. I thought it was smaller, actually, but they were really surprised when I said I'm from Deep River, which is like 4,000. So it was a big thing for them. So he was a cattle rancher. He was a very generous man. From what I heard, he would give to any people who were doing without, because they were fortunate in what they had and the cattle farms they had and that. So I had 5 siblings, 3 sisters and 2 brothers that I found out after losing my only sister in Canada. To find out you have that many, it was really, really surprising, as well as like happy about it. My father had, as I mentioned, passed away in 2017. My stepmother in 2024. So that's Teresa. And my nephew was the first one, the one I matched with, Jose. He was the first one to meet in person with, and he came to Deep River to meet me and the family. So he came all the way from New York, where he was stationed. Just in the green on the bottom, my father continued to look for his son in Canada for over 50 years. And he asked, even on his deathbed, asked his family to keep looking for his son in Canada. So these are I'll just go through this quickly, but this is only the immediate family that I found, but there's almost over 100 that are related down there. So on the left side top is myself and the one I matched with, Jose, my nephew, and my son, Canada, Brandon, who's in Dubai, and then Chano, and he's my father, older picture of him, and then Carlos I found out is my brother. On the right side, it's me and my sister Gabriella that I met. I bought them all Canada hats when I went down there, so they were wearing them. This is my other sister, Yi. She took over a lot of the farming and everything and the cattle that my dad had done. And then my dad's brother, Freddie, he's still alive, and so I got to meet him. Juan Pablo is the one in the middle beside me in the white shirt there in the bottom, second from the last. And Jose there. So he's another brother of mine. And then another sister, Mai. Yeah, I have trouble pronouncing your name sometimes. And that's her husband there also. So I had 3 sisters, 2 new brothers, and tons of other family members. So I started looking at pictures, and when I was going to do this presentation, I said, okay, do we look alike? Is there any that look alike? And they had mentioned it in Bolivia before, and then I took the pictures out, and I'm like, yeah, they do kind of like. So on the left is my aunt, Isabel. She's my father's sister. She has blue eyes, and she looks like an older version of my daughter, Trina, on the right side. So that's my daughter, Trina. And Trina has the complexion, the dark skin, everything. She's always had that, and kind of has an exotic type look to her. We were always wondering how come, but now we know. Now we know. And then my son Brandon in the bottom corner, he's more Tammy's color, fair skinned and that, but yeah, he's white. Yeah. And then Diego is a nephew of mine, but you can see the resemblance between the two of them, even though he has dark hair and he's from there. Like, so there was things like that. There was things like people mentioned when I was with my brother, we walked the same. my brother Carlos, he had a mullet when he was young, like down to here, which I had years ago too. So there's a lot of similarities. This is just a bit on the NRT article. So our first call was on Zoom. That's in the top right corner. That was the very first time we met everybody. Jose in the top right of that Zoom screen was the one who did all the translating for us from English to Spanish and vice versa. And those are the pictures, my father and Jose, the one I matched with, and his now wife. And the left bottom corner was when we went to the tomb, or the they have like a big tomb where they put everything inside and you go inside there, that rather than having tombstones out. And so we went there. So traveling to Bolivia. So this was after all this. We said we got to go to Bolivia and see what it was like. And we flew into Panama, and we went from Panama to Bolivia. It was almost 8 hours or so flight. But these are a couple pictures here. There's so many people that showed up at the airport. They had the welcome sign. Even my nieces had signed it all. And nieces and nephews signed it all, and he said, "Welcome, Uncle Rob," which I've never even met them before, but they were such welcoming that you feel like family as soon as you go there. And the story was very well known in Val Grande, but near the end, when my father was getting old, they kind of thought it was more of like an old man just making things up, or they didn't. Some people didn't believe him, except the family always did. You know, believing that after 50 years, do you really have a son in Canada? Is it really true? So this is just a video. If I get it to play here, this is when I just came into the airport. It's very short, so see if I can get it to work. Hopefully sound. Yeah, you don't have sound, I guess, but that first lady came in, and I think she thought they were all for her at first. Yeah, and she's like, "What's going on?" But there's all the sign. You don't get the sound when they cheered a lot when I came in, and then I came in first, and they were right away. My one sister, she comes up and gives me a big hug. But it was really touching, and they made me feel like family. There were some people, I'm sure, were there just to see, does this person exist, and stuff like that. But Jose's the one from New York that I matched with, standing beside me there, and he was translating. That's my sister, one of my sisters that came up, and her husband. That's Mai, and her husband. And then that's my brother, Juan Pablo, we found out. And then there's all these other people that were there that are either relatives, or they wanted to see, does this person exist or not. Yeah, so it was quite amazing. And after that moment, I was nervous about going there, but after that moment, I wasn't anymore. I knew that they were family. So traveling to Bolivia, it was, like I said, they were so welcoming. This is another in the turquoise dress. There is another one of the little girls that's, I think she's related to me, but she had blue eyes, like kind of like my daughter, big blue eyes too. So you could tell those things. They have a lot of fresh markets, and they don't put anything on them to preserve stuff. Everything's fresh, the food, and you have people in markets and ladies that have baskets all around them of food and of vegetables and stuff, and they sell them. They have a very relaxed, peaceful lifestyle. So when we were down there, we visited Santa Cruz, Val Grande, and Sucre. So I found out more about my father. One interesting thing I found out, the Che Guevara link. I don't know if you've ever seen, he's in the bottom corner there. He was a revolutionary in Cuba, and he went to Bolivia to, I think it was against Castro, but he was a rebel, and he went to Bolivia and tried to change things over there. But the Bolivian army was after him, and they caught up with him near Val Grande, and they actually executed him there with I think the CIA or something from the States, because they were all after him. Anyway, my father hid him for a while in Val Grande, I found out. And it was something that I'm like, I didn't know that was there. But until, and then I learned about all the efforts he was looking for me. They were looking for me on all over the place and couldn't find me. And I was born in the Cochabamba hospital. I found that out. So my father and mother's life, I'm learning more and more about them, but this was part of it. And this is where it kind of was like, it was kind of a love story. You could could tell the way things went out. They both lived in Val Grande. They used to ride on white horses through the town together. They lived across the street from each other, and these are the two buildings. This one on the bottom left-hand corner was where my father was with all his brothers. He lived there, and my mom lived across the street. It's a hostel now, but as she would go out on her balcony, he would yell out the window, and he would pass things on a rope to her, and they would talk across the balconies to each other. So it was quite a story. If anybody doesn't know much about Bolivia, I just put up a quick slide here for that. Bolivia is landlocked, so there's no oceans, there's lakes and things like that. I was born in Cochabamba. Val Grande is where I'm really from, because that's where my mom was from and where my mom and dad were from. Sucre's in there also, where we went, which I'll talk about that a bit. So it's a very beautiful land. Like, everything is very beautiful there. We went during Carnival, and it's kind of like it's a big party, I guess. It's kind of like they just, for 5 days, we could barely take it because it was a long time of drinking and stuff like that, and eating all the time. But I meant to mention too, every place we went to, so we would go for a dinner or something. We'd go for breakfast at 9 in the morning, and at 11 you're eating again at somebody's house because they're inviting you over. But every place we went, they had a birthday cake for me, and every place. And I asked them why, and they said it's because we're giving you birthday cakes for every birthday we missed with you throughout the years. So it was really nice. Sucre, we went there. They had a trip all planned out for us, and it's really amazing, that place. It's a salt lake, and there's about 3 or 4 inches of rainwater on it, so you can walk across the whole lake like that. But it's pure salt underneath, and they filmed The Last Jedi movie in 2017. The final battle, if you watch that movie, it was filmed at Sucre and on the salt flats, because I guess the stormtroopers are not flying over, because it mirrors perfectly, and you swear it's 2 of them flying. So we went there, we had dinner there, and Tammy and I were in this room. Those are all salt blocks on the roof. So they're all like cut out almost like cement blocks, but they're made of pure salt that they took them out of the lake. And it's pretty amazing because you can walk the whole lake. Like I said, we put a table out there and had dinner with everybody. So there's another picture. That night, the storm was coming in over the salt flats. So I just recorded it before we got in, and it rained the whole night that night. And this is in between Santa Cruz and Val Grande. It's just the haze over the hills. They have a lot of kind of rolling hills and things like that throughout. It's a lot more greener than I thought. I thought maybe because it's hot there and everything that there might not be as much vegetation in that, but there's a lot. It's really nice. And this is just some pictures I put together of places there and just kind of showing a bit of their culture. So that's my wife, Tammy, making cheese. My sister was showing her how to make cheese there, and she was like having a great time doing that. I don't know how the cheese turned out, but and then the middle is my sister had food there for us, and big barbecues, food. My other sister had a store, and she had table laid out for us every morning with food and things like that. The bottom corner was one of the places we went, and almost every place they have somebody playing guitar and Spanish music, and they dance, and they really live life and have a really kind of joyful, relaxed lifestyle. This was sadder. I was like rough shape there, it looks like, but this was when we went to we visited my dad and stepmom's grave. So we were there, and like I said, you go inside a kind of like a building, small building, and inside they have the pictures and all of the stuff in there to them, so the family could go in there and kind of get peace and quiet and be with their family. So that's one of my sisters, me, and then Gabriella, my other sister, and Juan Pablo, one of my brothers. So there's 2 missing off of here. One of my brothers, Carlos, and the other one, Hidi or Yi, is missing off that. So this is the last slide. So my sister sent me a few things. She got that pencil drawing done of me in the corner and my dad up there, and we have it framed at home, but it has the Val Grande Church in the background and the central water fountain. And right across from there was where my dad's place was. and that's where we stayed when we went. But when I went into my dad's place, they have like they had I like playing guitar, so they had a bed set up with guitar on the wall for us and everything. And the way they do their houses, they're not like here where you have a backyard. It's kind of like a castle type thing, and the rooms are all around. And in the middle is where they do all the meetings and gatherings for their family in there. So they had barbecues in there, and we spent a lot of time in there. So she got that picture, and she also sent me the shadow box, and in there she put things that were common between me and my dad. Like I like fishing, I like dogs, he likes like dogs and fishing. The two cups above are from a restaurant, El Mirador, that we went to there, and that restaurant, they were friends with the family too, and we went there and they opened the place for us to have, and just had it for the family, and we had celebrations there and food again. So it was a lot of eating. I think I must have gained a lot of weight. But so that's the last slide, and I'm happy about that everybody came, and people who are listening on Zoom really appreciate it. And what's that? Oh, that's good. Yeah, so 30 people on Zoom. That's good. Yeah, and hopefully some from Bolivia could make it. I'm hoping. Oh, there is. Oh, that's great. Great. Oh, okay. Oh, that's great. That's great to hear. Yeah. So if there's any questions or you have anything about ancestry or anything like that, I'll try to help. Yeah. No. Yeah.
Question.
Hey, I'm sorry, I got to come close to you so the people on the phone can, or on Zoom can hear. So you can go ahead now.
Okay, you said your mom left Bolivia to come to Canada. Why'd she pick Canada? What was there a connection there?
Well, her parents were in Canada.
Or her
Yeah.
parents were so it was
Yeah,
her,
and
okay.
she was young then, and they were paying for her to be in Bolivia to
Okay.
teach the Bible, and that is what she was doing. But when she had a baby out of wedlock, then they said that's a no-no in the religion, so we're not paying for you to be there anymore. Come home right now. And so she didn't say anything to my father. She took me to Cochabamba and then flew out from there. But my father went there, I think, with one of his sisters, and they were looking for her for quite a long time and looking for me. But he later found out she'd gone to Canada. But they were looking for my name to be Penne because that was his last name, and they couldn't find me. So yeah, so I was there. Yeah.
The question,
Yeah.
yes, I'm coming close behind you.
No,
Okay, good.
Just a quick question, like you're thinking of retiring, so do you think you and Tammy would ever consider moving down there for say 6 months out of the year to get to know your family?
I don't know. We might do something like that. They mentioned my brother mentioned, and I don't know if this is still something, but he said my father put aside 6 places where you could build something. So I don't know if we would ever do that, but he said he had 6 spots. So he had for the 5 kids and for his son in Canada. So there is a place there. I don't know what we would do. We're definitely going back and would go visit again. There's so many things to see, and just to see everybody is amazing, and the different people, and to know that that's where my mom was, and things like that. It's really, really incredible. So we will go back. I don't know if we would do that. I know one of my Brandon, of course, my son, he's like, Dad, get a place down there and we'll use it when you guys are gone. And I'm like, so yeah, so yeah, so that's it. Yeah, yeah. Well, that's it. There's no,
And
hey,
Place for me.
yeah, that's right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So thanks. Oh, do you have
any
another?
questions?
Yeah, sure.
How old was your mom?
I think she was in her early 20s. I think from that yeah, it would be early 20s.
You were how old when you left Bolivia?
I was like less than a year. Like I went, she went right away, like because her parents told her to. And then I did find a letter of her saying that she was sorry she lost her faith and that when she went back to Canada. But like I said, for many years I didn't check either, because I figured if my father didn't want to look for me, like he never said anything to me, then why should I look for him? But I found out that was totally not the case. It was that he was looking for me, and they were all looking for me for years and years. So it just turned out that's the way it went. And I was younger too, so I wasn't I was interested in what I was doing and getting work and all that other stuff. So I didn't really at the time. But they're family now, just like my sister. She passed away quite young, and she was 50 some years old, like a few years ago. So that was traumatic. And then to have this whole new family is really nice
Yeah.
to do it. And they're, like I said, you feel like family. When you go there, I felt nervous, but once I was there, I don't feel nervous at all. I would have been like probably 2 or 3. Yeah, 2 or 3. And so I knew him only as my father. Yeah, for that time. And
How old were you whenever you found out he wasn't?
probably maybe
Teens?
no, it was later than that because I just thought my birth certificate was Spanish. I thought maybe they were in Bolivia or something, or I didn't know a lot about it. So maybe they were in South America and my father Jack was there until later. But then I noticed he had blonde hair. There was traits that we weren't the same too that you could see. So it was late, quite later, like probably in my 40s, I guess. Maybe, yeah.
You
Mhm.
think your brothers and sisters will ever come here to see you, Rob? Like travel here?
They might. They're talking, especially the nieces and nephews. Some of them had mentioned about coming to Canada because they're younger and they travel. I know there's somebody in the family that goes to Montreal, and Jose, of course, he comes because he's in New York now. He's closer, so he's come a few times, and so it's yeah. I think they'll come, and some of them will come more often.
Click on the chat button and put it up on the screen so we can see.
Felt when you started finding these family members, I can't imagine how shocked or excited you were to all of a sudden start seeing more and more relatives. there
Yeah.
When you had no one.
Yeah, no, I didn't. No, I didn't think the reception would be like that at the airport and all the stuff they went to, and just the meaningful things like the birthday cakes and that. And they're very religious down there, and family is family. Like it said, family is never forgotten and never left behind, and that's kind of what it's like now. We're on a group with them, and we always message if we're going someplace or in case they can meet us there because they go to Mexico sometimes or whatever. We could meet them there maybe, but we'll definitely go back and soon, for sure. Yeah. Mhm. Oh,
No, not questions, just messages.
Just message.
I'm on Water Watch.
Okay.
Miss you, Uncle Rob.
Yeah, that's Alex is yeah, he's my sister's son, so he'd be one of my nephews, and he's one of the ones he speaks English. Carolyn is, yeah, she's a niece. So those two came to the airport with us when we left because they were worried, there's some things I guess in Santa Cruz could be dangerous or whatever. But Alex and Caroline, they both came to the airport to make sure we got off safe and everything. They both speak very good English too. So they could help as translators when we were there. Joanna.
It's in Spanish.
Yeah, I don't know.
HL.
HL.
Abu Dhabi.
Yeah, Jocelyn's there. She's from Abu Dhabi. Michelle.
I'm still going down here.
Hermano, Grand Test. I think it's something like Grand Testament to Bolivia or something.
Spanish. I was just
No.
gonna say, Tammy, you taking Spanish?
We did. We had there was a girl, Mary, that she was helping us from down there, but I think I'm a little better. I took, because my mom was speaking Spanish, I took Spanish in grade 13, but Tammy's not getting it, I guess. But so we relied, like we bought the earphones to try to translate and try different things, but it's better to have a translator there.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, so oh, he is, okay. Did he just go on or?
No, he's seen the whole thing.
Oh, that's good. That's really good. Yeah. Hopefully somebody's there to translate for them or they can translate it with that. That's great because yeah. Oh, that's good. Yeah. So they came in from they could be in Bolivia, in Santa Cruz or Val Grande. So that's really good.
Can you see?
To get everybody same time, but for this.
Yeah. Well, they're all on Facebook with me. So it's
When you told me ahead of time that this is what happened.
They saw it because it was on my feed, but it's funny because now when I have birthdays, it used to be like 30, 40 people. Now it's like 80, 90 people because it doubles with all the people in Bolivia. But yeah,
And that's good.
yeah, that is good. Yeah.
Can you see participants on?
Yeah.
Can I show them here?
There's someone named Heidi.
Yeah, so that would be my sister, yeah. But there's two Heidis too. There's one that's my niece too.
Heidi Pena Pena.
Pena. Yeah, I think that's my sister, I think. Yeah.
There's a Mariella.
Mariella? Yeah, that's another one. And some I still I don't know how they're related, but they're cousins or something. It's a very big family. And yeah, I think 142 in it. So it's all so it went from having none and then having all these people that you're related to. Yeah.
Still getting
Yeah.
requests in Spanish names to join.
Oh, they can watch if it's recorded, and I don't know if you put it out later. Or,
We will.
yeah.
We'll make sure you get it.
Yeah. Yeah, that'd be great.
One more has come up with Juan Pablo,
Yeah, that's my brother.
your brother. Okay. I'm Teresa, by the way.
Oh, Teresa. So Juan Pablo, my brother, doesn't speak that good English, but Teresa, his daughter, she speaks English. It's a lot of the younger people have started to learn English more than some of the older ones. So she translates too, and she's very good at English now.
Mhm.
So that would be her talking or messaging for her dad. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. So thanks everyone. And it was